Hey there, how y'all doing? Roger here. Just thought I'd pop on and say hey. Sitting here on the banks of the Tennessee River on a beautiful November morning. Just watching some stuff online, getting infuriated, as I tend to do. They had a thing this past week called CrookedCon. It was Crooked Media, as the Pod Johns, Pod Save America, Pod Save the World guys put on a big convention thing for all the liberals and the progressives and all that stuff. And it was a pretty good thing to do, but they had a panel discussion just now. John Levitt mediating, and it was like a debate about the Democratic Party. That was the premise, about the future, the past, whatever, sort of breaking down how the Democratic Party is supposed to be. So John Levitt was the sort of moderator, and had Jessica Tarloff, who's the token Democrat on Fox News, had Tim Miller from the Bulwark, more about him in a minute, Hassan Piker, the Twitch streamer, the big following guy, the big leftist progressive guy, young dude, and then Simone, whose last name is escaping me. I'm an idiot. She's on MSNBC. She worked the Bernie Sanders campaign. She's kind of, I don't know where to put her on the spectrum of the left. But if you don't know, if you know who she is, the black lady, bald, very entertaining, fun to watch, smart lady. Anyway, so they're debating and going back and forth. The reason I wanted to get on here is, why in the fuck is Tim Miller there? What purpose does he serve in this party? I understand, I get why we listen to his voice, where he comes out of the Republican Party. He was a Reagan Republican. He worked for Mitt Romney. He worked for John McCain, I think. A Republican who hates Trump. Good for him. But that's kind of where it ends. And so we still keep listening to this guy, and we consider his voice valuable because he can tell us what Republicans think and how they think and how they view the Democratic Party, and can give us that perspective. And the reason it bothers me is, why do we care what Republican voters think of Democrats? Why are we trying to get their votes? Why are we focusing so much on trying to get the least enthusiastic as possible, maybe Democratic voters who say in polls that they might consider voting for Democrats, as long as they're MAGA light? And we've proven twice now, 2016 and 2024, that those people are not going to vote for Democrats. They pull us along, and they Lucy and the footballers and all that stuff. And there's this 1990s triangulation Clinton Democrat thing that we are stuck in. We're addicted to it. It's like an abusive relationship. They keep doing us immense harm, and we keep going back. Well, maybe if we just MAGA a little harder, maybe if we just MAGA light a little harder, maybe if we just are a little more moderate. And that's horseshit. We have to stop this. This isn't, our enthusiasm is on the left. Look at what happened with Mamdani. Look what's happening with Plattner, whatever you think about him right now. But the enthusiasm is behind these people who aren't trying to be MAGA light. And what the centrist people don't get is that that the votes are over there. Is that what the centrists consider in the center isn't this perfect Goldilocks, mix of left and right. The casual voters, the non-voters that you're trying to get, those people don't. What they saw was, it wasn't because the Democratic Party or Kamala Harris was too far left. When they said she was too far left, they meant too black, too woman, too California. That's what they meant. And they used the they them ad as an excuse, but they didn't actually care about that shit. These center casual voters, people who are Democratic leaning voters who don't vote because they see the Democratic Party as not standing for anything, is not willing to help them, not having any policy that they're not willing to sell out to get a couple of crumbs from the center right. They've seen a Democratic Party for the last 30 years that talks a good game and doesn't deliver. It's considered a weak party. People still vote for them because they really hate the Republicans even more. But Democrats, because Democrats do keep winning, we do keep having things like this past Tuesday, they think that, well, people do love the Democratic Party. And like, no, they fucking don't. They hate the Democratic Party. They hate it. And being more moderate isn't going to get them to like the Democratic Party. People, those mushy voters gravitated towards the right because Donald Trump, saw that there was a problem, diagnosed what people saw as a problem, told them what they should think the problem is, and said, I'm going to fix it. The end. He didn't get a single vote from the center. Republicans, they're in charge of the White House, the Congress, the Supreme Court, the court systems, and the majority of state legislatures, from no votes from the center. That's how they got power, and that's how we can get power back. So we need to stop listening to Tim fucking Miller. He's not going to help us. I'm not saying never listen to him. I'm not saying, he's worthless. But why would he be on the stage in that CrookedCon thing? Why was Hassan Piker the only token leftist on that panel? It was one leftist, one center-right guy, and two rank-and-file Democrats. And it's just, and John, and plus John Levitt. So 3 rank-and-file Democrats, 1 center-right guy, and 1 left. That's not a diagnosis of the Democratic Party. That's 3 people who already like the Democratic Party, even though they don't think that they're very good at messaging or they're very good at, winning elections or whatever, but they still like the party. And that is out of touch with America. So anyway, I see Tim Miller up there while like Hassan's talking, and he's just like huffing and puffing, and like, get this guy off the fucking stage. Get the big hook and get him off the stage. He's not a part of our movement. He's not a part of this movement. We need to marginalize people like him and the Lincoln Project. Like, thank you for your service. I appreciate you hating Trump. Keep hating Trump. Let's be allies in that. But to act like he and people like him are a part of the way forward for the Democratic Party is a horrible, horrible idea. And we need to stop this. So that's all I really had to say. We don't need Republican votes. We need more Democratic voters. We have to stop this same crap we've been doing over and over again for 30 years. And now, because of that, we have no power. So the way we get back power isn't to keep doing the same thing. As one recent meme or something I saw said, if you sit down to play chess and your opponent punches you in the face, you're not going to win the contest by being better at chess. You have to fight fire with fire, and you have to understand the moment. And having these center-right people in there is not understanding the moment. They think it is because they still think in Bill Clinton terms, but it's not. So we need to grow up, do something better, be stronger, and push the Tim Millers of the world off to the side of that. All right, that's all I got. That was way longer than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if you're willing to sit there for 10 minutes or not. But again, appreciate you, love you. Miss all y'all Texans. Love all y'all Tennesseans. And talk to you next time. Thanks.